Welcome to Money Matures, the channel where we talk about everything money, the good, the bad, the ugly. Got my boy Matt on today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, man.
I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I know a little bit about your story, and I can't wait for you to share it with others, man. So I'm excited. Today's word of the day, we're gonna do things a little bit differently today. Today's word of the day is discipline. Okay, and I'm actually gonna pull up the definition, and then I want to get your thoughts. Okay. So the definition of discipline is the practice of training yourself or others to obey rules or a set of standards involving self-control, orderliness, and consistent effort to achieve goals. What does that mean to you, my boy?
Discipline, man. I mean, it's important, for me. I'm not an extremist, I'm not one of those guys that, oh, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. to be disciplined. No, for me, discipline is putting myself in a position to be uncomfortable so that I can be more comfortable long term. That's what it is to me. I think with discipline, most people today, I don't think they're lazy. I think that we're living in a society that is built for conveniences. And with discipline, why cook at home when I can just order Uber Eats, right? Yep. Why go with a used reliable car when I could buy a new flashy one for 8 or 10 years financing?
Keep going. I like where your head's at. I
think that people fall victim to that, to modern conveniences.
Yep.
And being disciplined means taking that comfort out of your life, being willing to go with something that's not as flashy. We could talk about, for me, when I first moved out of my parents' house, and being disciplined to make sure I didn't go into a lot of the thought process today again is, why do this when I can do this? Why rent a shitty apartment when I can go and rent a luxury apartment?
Or find something in the middle.
In the middle, right? There's a lot of things that we can do, and discipline is at the core of all of it, right? It really is. To me, at the end of the day, discipline is mostly just making yourself uncomfortable today so that your future self can live life comfortably forever.
Love, bro, that part right there. I'm with you 100%. I think discipline affects us in all categories of life, right? I think you could look at discipline and how it impacts how important discipline is to your diet, to your exercise routines, to your spending and saving habits, to your work habits, how you perform at work, right? I think discipline is at the core of just about everything. And one thing I liked about that quote, or that definition, is it's behavioral. Like, are you disciplined to behaviors that are successful, whether that be successful exercise behaviors or finance behaviors, or real estate behaviors, or working behaviors, whatever the case may be. I mean, I think it really is the core of everything that drives us. And I do agree with you 100%. We all, myself included, yourself included, we do take the easy routes where it's easy for a reason. It's convenient, to your point, for a reason. And so it's hard to stay disciplined. That's why it's a fun word to use. Everybody says, but it's hard. It's hard. You have to really stay focused, and you have to really dive in. And to me, the thing you said at the end was the most powerful, was you're giving up your temporary comfort so that you can be comfortable for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And that's where that comes into play for me, man. And that's huge. So thank you for sharing that. So let's tie that in. Speaking of being comfortable the rest of your life, I think a lot of that starts with, we talk about investing and we talk about all these things, getting out of debt, all of these things. But I think it really starts with our spending and our saving habits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So would you share your thoughts on spending, or maybe some of your experiences with spending and saving?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to spending and saving habits, it's huge. I mean, that's your money, right?
Yeah.
A little bit about me. I'm 31, married. My wife and I, we're a team when it comes to spending and saving habits. I actually learned a lot of saving habits from my wife. She actually was the one that first kind of taught me how to start saving money.
Nice.
She was always pretty good at it.
Nice. Do you mind? Where did that come from? Did her parents teach her that? Is it something she taught herself? Like, where did that come from? Do you know?
Definitely her parents. Her parents are just phenomenal at money management,
Nice.
right? Just taking care of their funds essentially. And so that passed on to her.
That's so huge, bro.
And on the opposite side, mine, my family, we never knew. And so we were ignorant on the fact, right? I wasn't born disciplined. I wasn't born with money management skills. Had to learn them. And so blessing of my life, her coming in and teaching me a lot, so,
Yeah.
But as far as, what do we do for our spending and saving habits? The big thing is having a plan, I think,
Mhm.
right? Thinking long-term, what, for me, it's, I work, my wife works at home essentially, right? She takes care of our son in the house. And so just being on the same page of like, okay, when do we want to retire, and planning around that. That's a big thing, right? You want to have an age in mind of when do we want to actually retire. So we're on the same page there. Okay, this sounds like a good age for us to be like, let's walk away if we want to.
You have the
But
power
then,
if you want to.
If you want to, right?
Yeah.
Not saying I will, but you never
But
know.
having the option is dope.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Spending and saving habits going into that, right? So the saving part comes first, I believe. And so we could talk a little bit more about, where you save it. But, for me, you always want to contribute every single paycheck.
Mhm.
The easiest way, in my opinion, to contribute every single paycheck is your 401k. That's the easiest contribution that you can ever make. It's right there. It comes right off your paycheck. And
So you don't even see it.
you don't even
So
see
it's,
it.
yeah, I get you.
It's already just, there you go. It's deposited. You don't have to worry about it. If you got employer contributions as well, there's a lot of benefits to that. There's a lot of benefits to 401k. But no matter what, that's the first thing, right? Save the money there. In terms of spending, like we were pretty big spenders originally, and we have since calmed down. I think that comes with just growing up, at a certain point, right? In the beginning, you're young, you start making a little bit of money, you just go, oh, all right, I want to get this, I want to get that. Especially, for me, I grew up in, my family, we grew up from, with low income, essentially background.
Yeah.
And so when you do get your hands on something, you want to be like, oh man, I can go and get these new shoes, or, oh, I can go and get this car, or I can get that. And you can fall victim of that really quickly. And so once we kind of matured and realized, hey, this is a little bit too much. Let's dial this in. Let's start thinking, right? And so I think you have to have that conversation either with yourself if you're not married, or you don't, have a significant other. You got to have that conversation at least to yourself and just say, what do I want? So for me, it's spending and saving habits. It's mostly, I'm not extreme to any end. That's, if there's anything about me, I'm not an extremist at all. I'm not an extremist in my discipline. I'm not an extremist in my savings, right? I'm not super frugal, but I do save money. It's the big thing is just being consistent, right?
Gotcha.
Being consistent every single paycheck. You want to make sure you're saving at least every paycheck, right?
Yep.
If you have
Even small
extra,
amounts.
yeah, even small amounts, you do.
And you mentioned the 401k, and that's good. But do you put money that's liquid away, like that you can get access to quickly? Like, do you have a certain amount? And you don't have to tell me the amount, but do you have a certain amount that you like to keep, like, let's say in a high yield savings account, just so it's, so you have it for like emergencies or anything like that? Or do you just invest everything?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Dave Ramsey says, what does he call it? The rainy day fund, right?
Yeah.
So
Emergency fund.
emergency fund. No matter what, there's going to be a rainy day, right? Something's going to happen. Tires need to be replaced, or garbage disposal goes out. Whatever it is, you want to have that cash saved. You're actually the one who had originally told me, hey, where are you parking your money? Not your investments or this, but your savings. And at the time, I was just putting it in a regular Chase savings account. And I remember your face when I told you that. You're just like, my boy, like, what? What are you doing?
And sounds like something I would do.
Yeah, and it was. And so you taught me, hey, do this, and which is essentially, high yield savings account. It's everything. I've preached it to my friends, and just said, hey, look, don't keep your money in your bank account. Put it here. For me personally, what I look at, it's how comfortable you are with how much you actually put in there. For Ariana and I, we talk, and it's basically 6 months to a year. It depends. Sometimes I'll have 6 months in there. Sometimes I'll have 12 months. It just depends realistically. But 6 months of your expenses is what you want to have saved up at minimum, I believe.
I agree. I think 6 to 12 easy. I mean, no, I agree 100% and the reason I ask you if you like to keep it liquid is because some people invest everything and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you're stacking money, that's fine. But like, I just don't want to put people in a position where they got to sell a stock or an index fund or something for an emergency,
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of people like Dave Ramsey and others, they preach that is because it's like, you got to have some cash liquid. Life happens, shit's going to happen, especially when you have a wife, you have kids, life's going to happen. Right. And so for me, it's a huge deal. For the spending side of things, do you have a habit or a behavior that you practice that helps you when you're maybe starting to spend a little bit too much to kind of rein things back in? Anything like that?
So the spending habits, I think for us, where we grew there was 1 year. There was 1 year. I mean, you learn growing up. And so there was 1 year, man, where we spent thousands, and it's crazy to say, but thousands on Uber Eats.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
okay.
you look at that, and when you reflect back, so I'm one that every year I'll reflect back on my spending and I'll look at it and go, what did I spend my money on? Where is it at? Right? I want to know.
That's important.
Because I want to know where I can learn. So that particular year, it was Uber Eats. And this was before we were married. This is when we were dating. And so I just looked at it and I went, no. No, this, I'm not doing this again. Like, no way. It's just, I can't do this. Why am I spending a convenience charge? And so it goes back to discipline of,
well, we know why you do it because it's convenient.
It's kind of, but and it adds up.
This is the craziest part. When I talk about spending, it's the small things every day that bite you in the ass, bro. Like, I'm not a big proponent I don't like car payments. I don't like things like that. Like, I don't like being in debt to anybody personally. I have been in debt. I don't want to be in debt. But it's not, a lot of times people think that's where I'm spending all my money. And that's part of it. Yes. But a lot of it is small everyday things.
Yep.
How many times do you go on and buy some little thing from Amazon?
That's exactly it.
How many times it's, to your point, it's so easy to spend money.
It's the click of a button.
I could buy anything I want. You could buy a Hyundai on Amazon.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
It's crazy. I was like, this is wild. This is crazy work. You can literally,
Let me see you do that real quick.
no, I'm not going to. You can literally buy anything right from your phone
Yeah.
at any point, and most times have it to your door within a couple days.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just, and I tell people all the time, man, it's like our spending, our daily spending is the biggest hurdle that we have to control. And it was for me too. I have to practice things. You know, I say this all the time. I read this book that really, and I'll preach this book till I'm blue in the face. It's called Your Money, Your Brain. I think it's by Jason Zweig. I have it over there. I can't remember. I think it's Jason Zweig. Anyway, it talks about how it's in our DNA to hunt, like from when we were in caves.
Yeah.
Like, so now the things we hunt for have just changed, and how we hunt has changed. So it talks about how you get this rush of endorphins to buy this product, and you get so gassed up, and you want to buy it. You click it, you find it, you search it, you purchase it. Your endorphins are going through the roof all the way until it gets to your door. You're looking at the tracking every day. Oh man, it's 2 days away. It's in Georgia. It's going to be here in a little bit, whatever. And then you get it, and it's like, like it's never like, all that anticipation is just gone. It's just, you just have it, you know? And so a behavior I've learned because I read that book is I try to walk myself through the whole purchase. I don't care if it's a $50 product, a $200 product, a $300 product. I don't care. I try to walk myself through the end, buying it, how I'm going to feel, tracking it. And when I get it, where am I going to put it?
Yeah.
I try to visualize, okay, when I get this, it's at my door. I open the box. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah. Is it going to make your life better?
Or am I just going to put it in a closet? And I just had to feed my selfish, I want everything right now need. And that's what it boils down to, bro. So I think that behaviors you can do when I take a product that I want, when I'm scrolling on social media and I see this and I'm like, oh man, I want that. And I take the time to walk through it. I say to myself, yeah, that's just going to end up in a corner of my house somewhere or in a closet, and I'm never going to touch it again. I'm good. And I move past it. And sometimes I can't do that. Sometimes I struggle. Sometimes and we want to spend money.
We live in a sales and marketing world, and it's so easy to fall victim of that. As something as simple as going to the grocery store and you see on the tag and it says, you buy one of these, it's $5. You buy two of them, it's $8. And you do the math and you say, oh my gosh, man, this is such a great deal. Why wouldn't I get two? But did you need to?
No.
And it's $3, right? It's a $3 difference. But what ends up happening with that second thing that you just bought? It sits in your cabinet. It gets expired. You never use it.
I love it.
You throw it away. You just wasted $3. And it's
what you got to do.
It doesn't seem like much.
But you got a deal.
You got a deal.
Yep.
And it's $3.
Yep.
But if that's $3 every day times 365 days, how much is that adding up?
And to your point about the Uber Eats, that convenience fee.
Yep.
In the moment, it's $7, $6. I don't know what it is, but we had an issue with Uber Eats. Alicia and I talked about it, and she was like, I want to save some money somewhere. I said, well, why don't we just focus on one thing? Like, how much food delivery do we get? And she looked at it and she was like, holy crap. I was like, well, there's $300 a month. Yeah. $400, $500 a month. Like, okay, let's start there. And that's the craziest part about.
Those are rookie numbers, by the way.
Well, yeah. I love it. He said those are rookie numbers, by the way. Okay.
You gotta feel the hurt, man. You gotta feel the hurt.
That's what drives me nuts.
You look back and your head is like this, and you go, what?
What the hell?
Man, those Gordito crunches are not that good.
They're not good. That's so funny you say. He said those are rookie numbers. Anyway, my point being is it's the everyday small purchases that get us in trouble.
Yeah.
And and I always say this, man, if you don't watch where your money's going, you won't know where it went, man. And you're going to do that same thing. You're going to, a couple months later, 6 months later, you're going to be like, damn, what could I have done with that money? what could I have done with that money?
Oh, 100%.
Would I be in as much debt as I'm in if I didn't do that? If I cut that out? If I cut that out? And that's important, man. And so I just think that daily spending habits, watching how much we spend every day is super important. Making sure we save money in a high yield interest account. To his point, he was talking earlier about how I mentioned why have it in your Chase Bank, because they're going to give you 0.001 in your Chase Bank. You go to Fidelity, I think they do 2.75. I think Vanguard does 4%. I mean, I think, there's all kinds of high interest. If you're going to park it and you're not getting, I still think you should invest after you save your rainy day fund.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you're going to park it, at least park it somewhere it's at least keeping up with inflation. Like, at least it's keeping pace with inflation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And to a point that you made to me about the high yield account, which is, I had asked you, hey, Mike, how many months do you think I should save for on this? And you basically told me, like, look, do you really see yourself being out of work for 6 months? Like, do you really think you're going to, if you lost your job today, would it take you 6 months to get another job? The answer most of the time is no, it's not going to take me 6 months, right? So, do what you're comfortable with, right? So you're right. There are people that will invest everything and not save a dime and sell stocks when it's time to make a purchase. But I do believe in the rainy day fund because, if you've got anything that it just is like a vehicle or even a bike, right? Bike tires, it doesn't matter. You got to come out of pocket for it. So
that's a fact.
I do 6 months, sometimes 12 months, just depending on how we feel for the year, but 6 months minimum is what we save. And the rest of that, it's finding that dollar amount that you have to contribute yearly to meet your retirement goal.
That's the other part you mentioned I forgot to follow up on. Yeah, you really do. I don't think nobody does that. Nobody thinks when do I want to retire? You need to think about, you got to have a plan, man.
Yep.
When do you want to retire? How do you want to live when you retire?
Exactly. Lifestyle.
What lifestyle do you want to just live? Or do you want to live? Do you want to be able to travel? So we have to have a plan. How much yearly money do we need to maintain or do better than what I'm doing now? And that's what it boils down to. And nobody thinks about them. So you do have to have a plan, guys. You got to have a plan. When do you want to retire? How do you want to live? How much do you need every month? How is it going to be taxed? 401ks are great, but you also got to be aware that your contributions are going to be taxed. Employee price match is going to be taxed. Your gains are going to be taxed. All of that is going to be taxed. So you do have to be mindful of that. So I don't think, for the record, I love 401. I think 401ks are great, but they should not be your only investment thing. You should have that plus other stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, there's even penalties for taking out of there early, right? But if there's one thing that's super easy for any person that is getting a W-2, essentially, it's to put money in a 401k, right? If you have zero knowledge on finances and you wanted to just make sure you're putting something away for your future self, I think it's probably the easiest thing.
It is. No, I don't disagree. Right? I just like to have that comment because when you retire, taxes is your biggest hurdle. Correct. You've got to understand how stuff's going to get taxed. Oh, yeah, which is huge. Speaking of investing, aside from the 401k, what investment tools or vehicles do you use to invest your money and grow your money?
So my philosophy is honestly boring.
Okay.
Investing for me is boring.
Let it be dull.
It really is. It's dull. Sorry, guys.
And that's okay too. But go ahead, let's do it.
Because the big thing is we're humans. We work off of emotions, right? That's what we work off of. Emotions tell us we want excitement. I want the big splash. I want that big stock that's just going to blow up. The reality is it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't for 99% of people.
It's big facts.
So
you're chasing that unicorn.
You are chasing.
You're tripping over dollars to get pennies.
Yes. So mine, I'm very, very easygoing when it comes to my investments, mostly because I don't want to have to work too hard on it.
Yeah.
Right. Life.
What do you mean by work too hard on it? Like,
I don't want to have to stress about looking at it every single day,
Gotcha.
right? There's day traders and that's their job. And, you know, kudos to them. I could never do it. I could never do it.
Yep.
I'm a simple man. I want to park my money and just let time do the heavy lifting for me.
Okay.
So I put most of my investments into index funds.
Okay.
So that's where I primarily have my money parked, is index funds. There are, you know, blue chip stocks that, of course, if it makes sense, do it. But to a point that you had told me when we first started talking in the parking lot at work, if it's a company you have no idea in, you've never heard of them, don't invest in them. I mean, it makes no sense, right? So
Yeah.
I don't fall victim to that unless I'm just wanting to gamble, and that's what it is.
Sometimes
gambling,
it is
right?
gambling. Yes.
But I'm not that way. I'm more of I've always told you, right? The story, you got it's like a 2,500-year-old story, the tortoise and the hare. And it's a children's story, but that story is such a good learning tool for everybody, that don't be that hare. Don't be that person that's trying to rush to that finish line and end up losing to the tortoise. The tortoise is where you're at, because it's time. So with index funds, time and time again, we know that they win.
Yeah.
I believe it's 10% on average year to year.
Your average the last 50 years. Yeah.
So
Specific different ones, and there's different index funds. Like for you got your S&P 500 index funds, you got whole market index funds, you have, and you know this, you have there's so many different, you have all tech index funds like QQQ. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. But yeah, like the standard S&P 500 is 10.5, I think, for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool track record.
Which is good. And so it then falls into compounding, right? Every single year, how much it's growing and growing and growing. And there's so many calculators out there on the internet that you can use. And again, having that conversation with either yourself or your significant other and saying, what year do we want to retire at? How much money do we want to live with? Like, what lifestyle? And then figuring out that calculation and understanding how much we need to put in there. And there's a lot of index fund calculators that will tell you what you need to put in. So like my wife and I, we already know exactly every year without failure, this is what we have to invest.
Yeah.
So now we're in a position where we're looking at, okay, well, I'm 31, she's 30. By the time we hit 40, where do we want to be? Because goals can change as well. Yeah. And so I will tell you, I asked her the other day, I said, I want to know what your goals are for us by the time we're 40. And she says, give me some time, I'll let you know. Still haven't gotten back to me yet on it, but she's thinking about it.
Okay.
Well,
and so I'd rather you think and give me a real answer than just like some off the top of your head, because you can't commit to that.
Exactly.
Because you just made it up.
No, it's long-term thinking.
Yeah.
You have to have patience. 100%. So, but back to your point in terms of what do I invest in, it's mostly index funds. I will, dabble in.
Particular one you like?
Personal favorite is definitely VU.
And why so?
Well, originally we talked, and when I first started investing, is basically my research was just telling me, hey, S&P 500, right? Super easy, very laid back. It's going to just do the work for you. What I didn't realize was there's different S&P 500 index funds, right? And so what I first originally had invested in was SPY.
Mm-hmm.
And did some Googling, and I think I had stumbled on something on Reddit, and it was talking about the, what is it called? The expense ratio? Expense ratio.
Huge.
And this was something that I didn't really understand. So I did a little bit more research on it. And I think SPY was at 0.09%. And there's VU, which is what I had seen on Reddit. They were saying it was 0.03%. So then I started looking at that. I even came to you, Mike, and I was just like, hey, I was like, this is what I'm hearing. What does that mean exactly? So, I mean, what does that mean? Like,
well, your expense ratio is basically how much it charges you to manage the fund, right? That's your fee, essentially, right? And 0.03 and 0.09 doesn't seem like a big gap, but If you think about it, that's a third of the cost to run the fund. And a lot of index funds are passively managed, meaning they just match the S&P 500 or whatever index they're tracking, right? And so they're passively managed, meaning they just keep pace with that. They don't try to do they don't deviate anything. They don't try to do any nuances that'll try to increase your rate or nothing. They just keep it very simple. And that's what you want. You want passively managed funds because then you're going to get the least amount of expense ratio, least amount of money that's going to be charged. But the difference between 0.09 and 0.03 is a third. It doesn't sound like a lot, but over time, when you're talking about, you mentioned compound growth earlier. The power in investing is the compound growth, the year over year, the adding. So if every year I'm in a fund that's charging me 0.09 and you're in a fund that's charging you 0.03, if they're both tracking the S&P 500 and they have a similar growth pattern, I'm losing. Mine's going to start tapering off a little bit because I'm spending more on expense. And that little 0.06 doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is.
It is, because it's 3 times. And it's kind of in anything,
over time, it really will add up.
Why would I, if I had the same t-shirt, they're exact same, one is, $3 and one is $9, why am I going to pay 3 times as much, right?
If it's the same quality,
exactly.
What's the point,
there's
right?
no reason to do it logically. And that's where you have to think logically in a lot of these things.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why I talked about index funds. I've told you before, I'll never recommend people buy certain stocks at certain times. I'll say stocks that I like and stuff, but I never really want to be that person who tells you to buy a stock here, sell it here, because I don't know what journey you're on. You know what I mean? There's no, we can't invest the same and we shouldn't invest the same. The only thing you and I should do the same is encourage each other.
Yeah.
I'm going to do things that I want to do that's better that I've thought about for my future. You're going to do things that better for you, for your future, you and your wife's future and your family's future. And so for me, I don't like the cookie cutter stuff. Let's just encourage each other to be better and invest more, right? But with index funds, you don't have to do a lot of research. You don't have to babysit, but you do want to look at 3 things. You want to look at, I've talked about this before. You want to look at the expense ratio. Is it passively or actively managed? And then 3, you want to look at, is it mutually owned, privately owned, or is the fund owned by a publicly traded company? You know what I mean? And those are 3 things, in my opinion, that you should look at. Once you've looked at those things and made your decision, just start going. Just start putting money in there. After you got your emergency fund, just start stacking that sucker up and just keep buying, dollar cost averaging every other week, every month, big chunks at a time, whatever you want to do. Yeah. The other cool thing about the rainy day fund is if we have a big dip, you can use a portion of that to buy a big dip and then just replenish your emergency fund.
Yeah. I mean,
so you have some liquid cash for
it. Well, that's the nice thing about the index funds, right? Is it's set it and forget it.
Yep.
It's what it is. And so
it really is nice.
I don't have to worry about it. When the market's completely red, so what?
Yep. You don't need the money right now, right?
I don't need it.
You're thinking about the future.
I love it. It's in there. I'm ready for, if anything, if I see red, like you said, that's a buying day. All right.
Yep.
I'm going to get on a discount.
Everything's on sale. I tell them all the time, man, everything's on sale. Let's go.
Yeah, you taught me about the average cost per share as well, which was huge, and I think that also contributes back to your habits, right? If you contribute every paycheck or every month, whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing, you're going to buy in to either a stock or an index fund at different price points.
Yep.
And over
you're going to buy high sometimes,
Yep.
you're going to buy low sometimes.
Yes.
That's why it's important to be consistent.
Yes. Consistency is everything.
Disciplined, right?
Yep.
You got to be disciplined because if you and I even tell people, if you're going to invest, let's say a certain amount of money every month, try to break it up into pieces. Do it every Friday. Because if you build that discipline, you're going to buy high, you're going to buy low, but your cost bases will average out. And that's important. And so I think that's huge, man. So I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you sharing one of the index funds you like and why you like it, because it's important, right? Do you mind me asking, do you have a Roth IRA?
You're going to hate me, bro. I still haven't opened.
It's okay. It's okay. We're not going to touch it. We're not going to touch it. But I have told you about it.
He has told me, and so I am doing. So know that I need to open it. And I will say this: I know I need to. My biggest thing is take advantage of your tax advantage accounts. Okay.
That is the best.
You have to take advantage of them. Okay. And so, yes, that is my fault.
Listen, it's not too late. You can still put 7,000 in this year, and then you could turn around and put another 7,000 in next year. And you're married, so you both could do. Your wife could do 7, you could do 7. I'm telling you, bro, you will regret not listening.
I know, man.
You will regret not listening to
Trust
this.
me.
It's tax-free growth.
I know. And it's just sitting there. I know.
You're still gonna index. Listen, you're still gonna buy index funds. You can still buy VU. You can still buy whatever you want. Just put it in that account. That's it.
I know.
And you may
He has told me this plenty of times, guys, and
you just got to do a back door because you got to do a back door one because you make too much, bro. You got to get a Roth IRA. But anyway,
I know.
And you're still gonna keep your behaviors aren't gonna change. You're still gonna get your index funds. You're just gonna put it in the Roth IRA. Tax-free growth. You just have a 5-year rule. You just have to keep it in there for 5 years. You can take money out. You can take contributions out whenever you want. So that's always available to you. And then you can only take your growth out after 5 years. And then you also have to be 59 and a half. But it's tax-free. Tax-free, bro.
Which is
So literally that growth. So you I know you invest, in your private brokerage account, in your personal brokerage account. I know you have a 401k, you have your Roth IRA. So you just let that Roth IRA roll. You let that 401k roll. And when you can start spending your personal growth at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have different tools.
Listen to the band. It is something you got to get on. So it's
okay. I didn't mean to put you on blast.
No, you're good, brother. It's true. I mean, I have done the calculations, the numbers. I've done it, and yes, and no matter what, any financial advice, you read any book or you read any blog, they'll tell you take advantage of your 401k, take advantage of an either traditional or a Roth IRA, depending on what you qualify for. So yeah, he is right. I've just been lazy to set it.
It's okay, Joe. Do it. I'm telling you. Anyway. So no, that's awesome. So we talked about that. So right now you have your 401k, which has employee match, which is great. You have just educate yourself, just know how that's going to be taxed when you retire.
Right.
Factor that into your situation. That's the advantage of having 3 different things. If you have a 401k that's taxed a certain way, you have your Roth IRA that's not taxed, you have your personal growth that's taxed a different way. So when you retire, you can pick where you pull from.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just gives you options. That's all it is. And so that's awesome, man. I really appreciate it. Do you do any private stocks? And you don't have to give me any specific stock, but do you do any investing in any individual stocks?
Well, the one that I was that I went in pretty hard on this year was Tesla.
Uh-huh.
And just because their stock got hammered.
It's doing that's paying off for you, huh?
It's doing great. But
again, we're not saying about it. It got hammered and it's climbed dramatically. We're not saying necessarily buy that right now, but you were smart for getting it. But
yeah, because you got to think. You can't think emotionally when it comes to managing your money, and so emotions, I think, took over that stock. And you look out on the streets, you look in my neighborhood, there's a Tesla in everybody's driveway.
Yep.
And I was actually at a job site the other day, and right there off of I think it was like Deer Valley and like 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
And driving by to get to this house, and there are like 300 to 400 Teslas parked in this back area. And I go in and ask these homeowners, I'm like, hey, what is all of this? Like, why I've never seen this before. I've been coming to this area many, many times over the 10 years of my career. And they're like, oh yeah, that's new. That's, they've got a couple of them. That's Tesla. That's where they park their new cars.
Dope.
And you're going, okay, so if you got 300 or 400 cars sitting in a parking lot ready for order.
Yeah.
I mean, they're clearly not struggling as a company. And you made a point to me when we first, again, going back to our original talk, buy our vans, out in our parking lot, which was, have you see, like Costco, for instance, you see the foot traffic just going in and out, in and out, in and out. And if you sit out there and you count all those people going in and out, like there's nothing going wrong with that company, right? Versus if you were to like look at, probably if you were to look at a company that went bankrupt, like Sears.
Mm-hmm.
How much foot traffic did they receive in their store?
It'll tell on it. You'll see it. Costco that could happen to Costco, but you're going to see it.
Yes.
When you start noticing, how was it Costco yesterday, bro? I love Costco, man, but I was at Costco yesterday, bro. I needed 3 items.
Your brain lines
We're crazy.
for 3 items?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not worth the trip, man.
I don't know why. I just had, I like to pop in. I like Costco. Yep. So
Costco's good.
anyway, my point being is, it'll tell it. You'll see it happening. You'll see it in real time. Eventually, I'm sure at some point Sears was packed, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then over time, you start to notice that there's less and less people there.
Yep.
Over time, you start to notice there's 5 people in this whole fucking store. And so but this is why I always tell people investing is not that hard. You just got to pay attention.
Yeah.
Right? To your point, everybody wants to look for the next greatest thing. Well, you don't have to. Just go into the thing that's great now. There's Teslas everywhere. And they're going into robotics. So they're taking that. He's going to be taking that a whole nother direction.
Oh, yeah.
So they're evolving. Costco, traffic, always, all the time. Anytime I'm somewhere, I Google everything, man. I Google books to read. I Google all kinds of things. When I'm somewhere I'm unfamiliar with and I see how busy a place is, first thing I'm Googling is like, who owns this company? Like who? Because sometimes it's owned by somebody else. And so I'll Google like, who owns this? Like this place is popping all the time. And so, but yeah, the stocks will tell on themselves.
Yeah, they will.
And it's just, where are people spending money? That's it.
That's the truth.
Where are people spending money? And that's where you put your money. And going back to spending habits, I used to tell people, another way you can control your spending, every time you go somewhere and you buy products, right? 2 things you should think about all the products that you buy. 1, why do you buy that product all the time? Because that might tell you why you want to invest in said company. Okay. If you're buying it for XYZ reason all the time,
yep.
How many other millions of people are doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. 2, to control your spending, if you want to go buy a product somewhere, say, okay, I'm going to buy this $200 product, but I'm also going to buy $200 in stock in that company. So now you tell yourself, do I want this product so much that I'm going to spend $400 right now? And if the answer is yes, cool, buy the product. But at least you bought $200 in stock, and buy the stock before you buy the product so you don't cheat yourself. But it's a way to help control yourself. It's a way to help mentally say, okay, I'm going to buy this product because I want this product that bad. But also I'm going to do something for my present, and I'm going to do something for my future.
That's a good way of trying to cheat the system, I think, right? Kind of play both sides where it's kind of like
feed both of the wolves.
I'm feeding my emotions by getting what I want.
Yep.
But I'm also buying the stock, which is essentially doing something I need.
You're taking care of your present self and your future self.
Yeah.
Or you might be like, I'm not spending $400. Then you don't want that product that bad.
That's true.
So walk away from it.
And it's true. I think a lot of the times it just comes down to emotions when we're spending.
Most times it
really is. And so
you're not wrong there.
Well, and this is where it goes into investing, for me, understanding how to cut, right? If you are somebody that's trying to go, well, Matt, it's easy for you to say, I've got this, I've got that, I got this, I got that, whatever it is. And no matter what, I feel like there's always something we can cut back on, right? It may not seem like much. I had helped a family member, with finding out, where to put their car payment, right? And how much money that would essentially put back into their pocket, not just with the payment itself, but also with the fuel, right? These are things that add up, throughout the year. And so I ended up saving them on their monthly payment, like $300. It was like $200 or $300 plus the fuel cost that she was getting before versus what she would be getting now. That was about $1,500. So let's just say we're saving $300 on your payment for 12 months. That's 3 times 12. That's $3,600. Plus, let's say $1,500 in gas, right? So that's 36, 15. That's 5,100, I believe, right?
Yep, I'll go with it. Go
I
ahead.
think so. Let's just call it 51. And so it's 51. You guys said 51?
Yeah, you good.
Oh no, man. I may be wrong. So
You're good.
that's $5,100 that can go right into, either if you have debt, that could pay off debt, right? That can go into investments. That can go into your rainy day fund if you don't have it. That can go into your 401k if you're not already investing in that. There's so many ways you can.
You have more money to do more things with,
Correct.
and you have more options.
Yes, and it really is.
Speaking of which, that's a great tie-in. Debt, the things we all struggle with or have struggled with, and
Yep.
most people struggle with, and nobody really wants to talk about. What has your experience been with debt? Have you ever been in a large amount of debt, tell the story, man. Tell the story. We all had. I think anybody who listens to my show knows your boy done struggled with it. So tell us your story.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everybody's experienced debt one way or another. It's nobody's perfect.
Mhm.
I'm not perfect. Mike's not perfect. Nobody listening is perfect.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. But it's not just that. It's understanding debt realistically, right? There's good debt and there is bad debt, right? If there's good debt for your future, for instance, I took out a loan for trade school.
Okay.
That was good debt, right?
Mhm.
I was taking money now to pay my future self, right? With my
Yeah.
career.
It was debt so you could grow
Correct.
and create more money.
Yes.
I get you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on
So
that.
that was good debt, but that was debt nonetheless. I mean,
Yeah, you still got to pay it back.
yeah, everybody knows, it doesn't
But
matter.
you knew what it was.
Student loans, they're they're up there.
Yeah.
Even for trade school. So, understanding good debt versus bad debt. Yeah. For us, I talked about Uber Eats. That was such a big thing. And it's not so much it was getting into debt on it. It was just kind of looking at that and going, man, I could have put that money in something somewhere else, like a house, right? I think one of the biggest things so for me, I always recommend anybody out there, if you're kind of not allowing that lifestyle creep to get to you, because that's a really big thing, is
What's lifestyle creep? Explain that.
basically just trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's the old saying, right?
Mhm.
Lifestyle creep. Don't try and keep up with the person next to you. It's so easy on social media to open up a feed and just see your friends doing this and doing that, and they've got this, they've got that, but we don't know their real situation, right? Everybody's going to post the highlights, but we don't know. But emotionally, it does hit people, right? Where they go, man, why can't I have that? And so we get into this trap of, well, I'm just going to put it on my credit card,
Yeah.
right? Whatever. You know what? My generation, YOLO, you only live once, right? Like, what's up? Go.
That wrong.
And so,
I mean, there is something wrong with it, but I get it.
but you gotta grow out of that mentality and just recognize people aren't posting their lowlights. They're not posting the struggle and what's really going on in the background. And so for me, that was, dead, just kind of trying to keep up with certain appearances and to a certain point, right? Buying a super nice product where it's like, did I really need that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. And just checking myself now, like this is Banana Republic factory, man. This is like $20, where it's like, I could buy something $200.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. It's a piece of clothing,
Well, you mentioned lifestyle creep. To me, it's like, I think of lifestyle creep more like every time we get a raise, we don't start saving more money. We just spend more money.
Mm-hmm.
So like as our income goes up, we don't think like, hey, now I can save this money. We just buy bigger cars, bigger houses, spend more money on clothes, shoes, all that stuff. And I think that if keeping up with the Joneses, lifestyle creep, however you want to call it, I think it's incredibly dangerous. And that's what gets a lot of us in debt. I know that's what got me into debt. I was so, I had to have the new car now. I've been in sales my whole life, so I could always make money later. I always knew I could get some more money later. And we just get ourselves into some people getting really bad. For me, I got in really heavy debt, man. I had to make real changes. I had to really like look inward and be like, yo, you're fucking up. Stop it. Like, what are we doing? And when I woke up, I attacked debt like crazy. I started watching my spending, being better with my spending. And I realized that nobody was coming to save me. You know what I mean? And the only person who could save my family was me. And so I knew that I needed to do better. So I will say probably the one thing I would wish for everybody, if nothing else, is just to experience not owing anybody any money. Just get to that point where you don't owe anybody anything. And that feeling, God, I wish it for everybody.
Yeah, you take control over your life at that point.
You do. And then you start stacking money, and then you just start to have this freedom where you're not behind, you're ahead. So if you have a rough month, you're not beating yourself up because you put yourself in a position where you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in debt and you have a rough month, you just feel like you're in quicksand and you're just sinking more.
Correct. Yep.
But when you're not in debt and you have a bunch of money invested and you have a rough month, you're like, huh? I mean, it sucks. I don't want to have a rough month. I'm not saying that. But, or when you have a life event, an emergency, someone is in the hospital, someone passes away and you got to take care of somebody, you lose your job, whatever, where all the things that can happen in life. If you have money set aside and you're not in debt, you can handle those situations better. And that's what I wish for everybody out there, is that we just think about that, because you don't have to have that thing right now. You don't have to put yourself into debt. And if you're in debt, you can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Then you don't have to tell me the dollar amount you were indebted, because I'm not going to tell mine because it was atrocious. But what behaviors did you implement to get yourself out of that situation?
So
something that somebody could practice at home.
Well, honestly, my situation's pretty unique. I'll admit it. So I ended up doing a debt consolidation loan, right? It was credit card debt, right? And I think most people, consumer debt, right? So, put it in a debt consolidation loan. That way I wasn't getting hit with 28-30% interest, right? Go down to, I think at the time it was more manageable, like 11 or 12%.
Yeah.
Which was decent.
Still high, but decent.
Compared to what you.
And then it's consolidated to like one payment.
Yeah. Made it easier to manage. But how did I actually tackle it? Well, it goes back to something that I had purchased, which was good debt.
Okay.
Back in 2018.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good. 2018, I was fortunate to be able to buy my first home.
Okay.
But how I got that first home, I feel is more important.
Okay.
When I moved out of my parents' house, I was making decent money. I was in air conditioning as a technician, and we make pretty good money in Arizona, right? It's a need that somebody has to do, and it's a very hard job.
Yeah.
So I was making good money.
Heating and air is good all over, just different seasons for different places.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Somewhere super cold, the heat's going to come into play.
Yes. But highly recommend it, guys.
Yeah.
Move it. Yes, sir. We need more techs. There we go. We need installers too.
I love it.
So for me, it was when I got out, I was with my cousin, and basically I was just like, hey man, I want to move out of my parents. Like, I was like, let's move in somewhere, So key thing first, I didn't just move out of my parents and go out on my own and start renting something on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I brought somebody with me.
Cool.
Okay.
Like it.
That right there saved me half of my rent.
Gotcha.
Okay. The choice of where I rented we could have gone to a luxury apartment if we wanted to.
Especially with two incomes.
Two incomes, right? He was a plumber, you know. Plumbers also make good money
Hey.
too. Yes. So
The trade money's in the trades, people.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yes, guys.
Don't sleep on
But-
plumbers. Or
We did it. We went with something that was extremely affordable. That it was just like, I can make this payment in my sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. So by doing that, it opened up how much I could put away.
Mhm.
And at the time, I had talked to a coworker, and he was probably about the same age as me. And this was 2017. I remember him getting his first house, and I tell him, I'm like, dude, why are you buying a house, man? Like,
Yeah.
like we're like 20 something years old at the time, you know? And I'm like, why are you buying a house? And he told me this. He said, well, think about it. Where are you living right now? It's like an apartment. It's like, okay, you're living in an apartment. You're paying rent? I'm like, yeah, I'm paying rent. He's like, okay, well, where does that rent go? I was like, well, it goes to whoever owns the building. He's like, all right, great. So you're paying somebody else.
You're paying somebody else's mortgage,
Exactly, right?
basically.
He said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pay a mortgage, which pays myself, right? Future growth. And something about how he had said it just kind of clicked in my head where I went, you're right. Why am I doing this? Why am I paying money here when I could pay myself? So what did I do? I cut expenses. I cut expenses to save as much as I possibly can. 3.5% down on a home. It's not hard if you are disciplined.
Back to the key word. I love how you tied that back.
Yeah.
Well-
And it's so important. I, again, could have gone to a luxury apartment, lived a lot more lavish lifestyle in 2017, in 2018. Could have done all of that, but it would have set my goals back for what I wanted. I wanted a house in 2018. I bought a house in 2018.
Nice.
I got into debt. Okay. Lifestyle creep is very, very easy to get into.
It's very, very real.
Very,
Yeah.
very, you know, when you're dating, you know, like I'm a traditional guy, you know, I pay for my girlfriend, you
Yeah.
know, and now wife.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to get into that.
Yeah.
Not to say that she doesn't help out, because there was a time where I lost my wallet and she came up with my entire rent 1 month. So I lost that. It's a crazy story.
Yeah.
But, you know, 2018, bought the house, got into debt, got a consolidation loan. 2020 happened. And my house, man, the equity that just boom,
Yeah.
shot up, right? I mean, if you have a house and you know the market in 2018, 19 versus 2020 prices and where equity
Bro,
went.
you had to buy right at the right time.
Yes.
Because it's skyrocketing in Arizona. But go ahead.
So what did I do? Well, my brother was a loan officer at the time, not doing it anymore, but he was. And he told me, he's like, Matt, rates right now, just crazy low. He's like, you got to get in, you got to refinance your rate, right? So went in, you know, refinance. That's when I was able to pay my debt. I used the equity in my house
Mhm.
to pay off the debt, but I didn't do it just like, oh, I'm just going to pay this off and then I'm going to go back to my old habits.
Yeah.
No, it was, I'm paying this off
That part.
with-
that part.
intention. And you have to be intentional about what you do. I wasn't going to go back to my old habits. So we paid off the debt, cleared that.
Mhm.
And we have never since paid interest on credit cards.
Love it. Love it.
But I did, again, my situation's unique and I understand that I had a house and I was able to do that. But I think a really important thing for a lot of people is get a house if you can. And my house was nothing luxurious, but that equity you build into it, I mean, 3.5%, you know, cut some things out of your life that you don't know.
That's the part right there. I think that's the part that most people could, because I think that's the part most people could take something away from, cutting expenses, right? Because you can do that.
Yes, you can.
You can trim fat. Even if you can't get a house right now, that's a great option, yes. But even if you can't, you can cut expenses. You can practice better spending habits. You can sacrifice a little bit more today to give yourself a better future later. But you do got to attack debt, because at the end of the day, investing isn't going to make any sense until you get out of debt. Because what's the point of doing an index fund and getting 10% every year if you're spending 28% in interest on credit cards?
100%.
Like, you got to kill that first. You got to cut the head off the snake.
Bingo.
And then once you do that, then you can build your emergency fund. Then you can start investing. And when you do that, you get yourself, to me, everything's behavioral. When you teach yourself behavioral habits, you mentioned it when you said, I used my house, but also I wasn't going to go back to what I used to do, because you would have put yourself right back in that same boat again and again and again.
Exactly.
So when you change the behaviors and you start putting that money, I know how you think. Like, once that money's in your brokerage account, you don't got that shit.
Yeah,
right? That's gone.
It pains you to even think of wanting to pull it out. It does.
I'm not doing it, And, you mentioned how one thing about, I'll say this and I'll give you your flowers on this, is you're not somebody who needs to be pressured or constantly reminded. You hear gold and you run with it. You heard the tip from your friend about the housing market. You take action. You're an action taker. I know you did a lot of your 401k, but what inspired you to, because a lot of people just do a 401k and they think that that's the end all be all, and it's not. I'm sorry. It's not. You will be mistaken. That's a good starting point, but you do have to have other things. So what started you investing outside of your 401k? What inspired that?
Well, that was you, man. I mean, realistically, when we talked, it was,
I didn't set that up. I feel, please share.
No, I mean, it really was, I like everybody else. I have, again, going back to it, nobody's born with money management skills. Nobody knows this stuff. You learn it. My family,
like your wife learned for her family.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly.
I didn't grow up that way either. My mother didn't teach me. My mother, she didn't want to. She just didn't know.
Well, and my wife, she was great at the saving part, but she had no idea what to do with it.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. And so when we talked, right, when I got promoted into the CC, I was talking with you because that first month I was just kind of like struggling. I was like, man, that's such a weird position for me now.
Yeah.
And so I came to you and we sat, we like talked outside for like an hour, bro.
Yep.
And basically you hit me with a lot of knowledge that it was just like, you simplified it in a way that I could understand. And I think the big thing is the fear, right? People are scared. They are. Yep. They're scared of losing their money.
Yep.
I was scared of not only just losing my money, but I was also like, I'm not paying somebody 3%, 2%, 1% to manage my money. I'm sorry.
Nor do I.
When you're in,
no,
I don't care where you actually are. I don't care how you work, how you obtain your funds. Nobody wants to just give it away. It's very hard to just give away your money. And so they make things very, very complicated for a reason. They use words that go over 90% of people's heads. Mm-hmm. And so when we talked and we sat outside and you basically just made it make sense, you just said, which was a big point, was like, hey, sit outside Costco. Look how many people are going in and out of there, right? Do you really think that's a bad company to invest in?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, oh, hey, I got this, I've got this friend of a friend of a friend who's telling me to invest in this. Okay. Right. So just talking with you and the way you said it to me, I don't know, it resonated with me where I was going, I feel confident. I feel confident I can do this. And so I'm a researcher, like 100%. I just probably
that's a fact. Because I remember after that conversation, it was like next week you were telling me some stuff. You were like, hey Mike, did you know? That's when I knew you were a action taker, man. Yeah, because it wasn't a week later that you were like, Mike, look, did you? You were showing me. I was like, bro, you already okay? Well, hell yeah, that's dope, man. That's awesome. But what would you say to encourage somebody? Because for the record, I tell everybody, to invest.
He does.
And I don't try to be annoying, but damn it, I just try to share with people that's hurtful. That's hurtful. That's hurtful. You ain't gonna disrespect me on my own show, Matt. Damn it. I just want people to know what I wish I would have known earlier. And if I care about you, man, like for real, I'm gonna look you in your face and tell you stop fucking up. Like, come on, man.
And he's literally telling the truth, because when we went on our work trip, you and your wife had told my wife and I, like, yeah, we learned. Then you told us, and I was just like, all right.
That's right. When we went on that President's Club trip, for the record, President's Club.
Yes, sir.
That's where I met your wife for the first time. And she had said, she was like, man, she was gassed up about index funds and investing and stuff. And that's so awesome.
Yeah, man.
To me, just so you know, that means the world to me, man, because I tell all my friends, all my family, that we got to do better. We got to do better. And 2 out of 10 people actually take immediate action. And I wish it was better. So your story means, I hope people that I've been trying to tell will listen, because what's your experience been with investing? Has it been positive or negative?
It's been...
Did I lead you astray?
No, it's been amazing, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, listen to his advice. You know, he definitely makes sense. How you go about it, you know, there's a lot of different strategies. There really are.
Yeah.
You know,
and I don't care. Just dive in.
Just do it. Exactly. You know, you don't want to be somebody that when they're 65, 70, 75, because I've been in that situation with homeowners where they don't have it.
Yep.
And it's sad. And it is, you just have.
And at a certain point, it's too late.
It is. And it really is.
If you can't generate income for yourself, it's too late.
Exactly. And you just don't want to be put in that position. Work hard today so you can, you know, your future self can thank you later. It's so important. Just take care of it. You know, for me, it's, you know, I'm a dad, and just making sure my son is going to be set up for the best success that I can possibly give him. That's my job, you know, to take care of him and my wife, you know, our family, and just grow. And eventually, hopefully have that generational wealth, you know, that can pass on to his kids.
Not eventually. You will.
Yeah.
You just got to stay disciplined.
I agree. Yeah.
Boils down to some key points. Thank you for sharing. That means the world to me. That energizes me, man, because that tells me if one person listens to me, then that means the world to me, because I could say, all right, cool. I helped somebody a part of their journey. You and I invest differently. That's cool. That's all good. I've told you, I have my private stocks that I invest in. You've dabbled a little bit. I do a little bit more than you probably. I do a large bulk of my portfolio is in indexes. I love indexes, but I also like to be in the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I always tell people investing is personal. I've told you this. You have to do what's comfortable for you, but you need to invest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stand on that. You need to invest. But you can do it a way that's comfortable for you. And that's 100% okay. I love the fact that your wife was taught by her parents to save. And the next evolution of that is not only to save, but to go from there and invest. That's amazing. I grew up in a house where I was a single mother. She didn't have money to tell me how to invest. She didn't have money to save. She couldn't teach me those things. Part of generational wealth is teaching your wife, helping you, me helping you and your wife, you teaching it to your children. That's how it really grows.
Mm-hmm.
Every book you see over there, Caden's read 5 of those books. My son, he's 17 years old. He's read more finance books than most full adults. It's not so he knows. Like, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Aside from teaching your children to be good people, good human beings, that's number 1 important. But number 2 is teaching them how money works.
I agree. There's no.
That's my opinion.
In at least when I went to school, I mean, there's no money management course, right? I mean,
it's like they want you to spend all your money.
That's really what it is.
Yeah,
it really is. And so, yeah, I mean, setting up your kids for success, that's everything. And your kids are an extension of you. They really are. So if he's reading these books, it's because that's, apple doesn't fall far.
And it's because I want him to do better than I did.
That's right.
And I tell my son the struggles I have. I don't hide it. My son, I love my son. I'm telling him, like, look, I'm telling you this stuff so you don't have to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
I'm sharing with you because you're a friend of mine. I want you to know now. You're younger than me. If I had my discipline now, your age, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so,
well, let me ask you this, because the big thing is, maybe people do feel hopeless, right? So you're saying there is a point that it's too late, but what if they're feeling hopeless? I mean,
I hate to say too late, but when you get into your 70s and 80s, like, your biggest asset is your ability to create money. Your ability to create income is your biggest strength. So when you're 80, I'm sorry, it breaks my heart, but I've seen it.
Yep.
You're living on
That's the
Social
reality.
Security.
Yep.
And they tax Social Security.
Yeah, they do. I know.
That's literally money that we are taxed on to pay for us later, and they tax that.
Yep.
Are you fucking kidding me? Bro, that shit pisses me off so bad. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. It breaks my heart.
So you would say there is,
it's
the reality of the situation is that there is a hard line where it's kind of going, it may be too late.
You got to start getting aggressive. The older you are, the more aggressive you have to get faster.
If you aren't already in that.
Yes. If you're in your 20s, bro, you're going to be fine. You got to dial in because you get to your 30s real quick before you know it, right? So we got to create, to me, you got to have behavioral habits. You got to create habits, you got to create good spending and saving habits, good investing habits, staying out of debt, all of those things, or getting out of debt. But the older you are, the more aggressive you're going to have to be. Where if you're 20 and you get yourself in debt, you get out of your debt, you start in debt, putting in index funds, that's fine. If you're 50 and you're still in debt, you got to fight your way out of that. Yeah. You still want to go into some index funds, but you might need to take a few more other chances. You might have to take a couple risks because, and this is why I tell people, you can't invest the same. A 20-year-old doesn't invest the same as a 50-year-old.
Right. I mean, there's a certain amount of risk that we're willing to take on. And you even laugh at me. That's why I'm telling you guys, I'm boring.
Yeah.
I'm boring when it comes to my investments because I am a turtle. Right. I don't care about anything flashy. I'm not trying to hit something, I don't need to win the lottery because I know time is on my side at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of anybody that's listening that is, around my age or even younger, time is going to do the heavy lifting for you. That's my philosophy for it. Yeah. If you're older, there's less risk that you technically can take on, right? I mean, it's more risky for you.
You just have to be a lot more aggressive is all I'm saying. And so it's listen, here's the biggest thing. Let's just put it here. If you're in debt and you're struggling, you need to take action now.
Yeah.
Not later. I don't care if you're 20, 30, or 40.
Yeah.
You need to take action now. And the quicker you take action, the quicker your life will change.
Yeah. And whether that means cutting habits through spending, whether that means taking up extra shifts at work, whether that means taking up a second job, I mean,
you got to get out of it.
It really is, don't get it twisted. I got a house when I was, 2018. How old was I? I was 24 when I got my first house.
Dope.
But if you looked at my timesheets and the hours I put in, I mean, you can ask my wife. I had worked 1 year, specifically 6 months in a row, no weekends off, right? To obtain that goal of what I wanted a house.
Yeah.
And I did it. I did it by not taking any days off. Yeah. Was it hard? Absolutely. But again, going back to discipline, I had to make myself uncomfortable to become comfortable long term. And so if there is anybody that, is struggling with debt, you're going to have to make some hard changes. They're hard. And the point of it is to become uncomfortable. You're comfortable right now. You're comfortable living in debt. You got to become uncomfortable with that and do something about it. You got to take action, and
that's huge. I love it.
That's my thought.
That's the realest thing we could have said. That's the realest thing you could have said. take action now. And tying back to what we talked about discipline, it's doing the uncomfortable things now so you can be comfortable later.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's it. I love it, man. Well, Matt, listen, bro, I appreciate you taking time out of your day away from your family to spend time with me and to share. I really, really do appreciate it, man. I've had a great time talking to you. That's the end of the show. Please like, comment, subscribe. As always, stop playing and start stacking.